Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Triple Scoop. We are talking all things music at the Disneyland Resort today, and we're going to get into it. Here we go. All right, everyone, welcome to our episode today. What I want you to do right now is I want you to stop, close your eyes. I'm not going to ask you to do a meditation or anything, but I want you to picture yourself getting off the tram at the Disneyland Resort. What are some of the things that you may notice? Maybe it's a certain smell. Maybe it's a certain sound. Maybe it's the feel of the gravel under your feet or the pavement. For me personally, when I get off the tram, one of the first things I hear is definitely the music when you enter that Esplanade. Even the first few notes of something can bring you back to a moment in time from many years ago, right? And music is one of those universal things. So on today's episode, we're going to dive into what makes the Disneyland Resort's music specifically incredible and amazing, and we're going to maybe have some fun with it. And I might throw the guys a curveball. But to get things started, I want to talk about the atmosphere. Now, Jeremy, this is where you are the expert. You're going to come in here and you're going to talk all things music a little bit more. For those that don't know, Jeremy is a recovering film composer, as he says. And I'll let him get into that a little bit more, what that means. But, Jeremy, what does music bring to a theme park? Why is it important?
Music is the music is about the emotional connection we have with basically anything, right? So as Ben said, I'm a composer. I wrote the music to Disney's Hair Jitsu. I wrote music for Timon and Pumbaa's Safety Smart, which you can view in the various hotel resorts. The first Disney project I worked on was Get a Horse, which won the Oscar for Best Animated Short. And you can also see the poster in Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway at Disneyland in Toontown. Um, and music has always been played a really pivotal role in the Disney parks, right? That's always the first thing we all think about. It's the songs, it's the melodies, Mary Poppins, Small World, the Sherman Brothers. Music sets the tone, it sets the stage. It tells you if something is fun and joyful or dark and scary or humorous, right? It tells you if you're in Frontierland or if you're in Bayou Country. So if the music is out of place, then it doesn't set the correct environment, even if the visual is all there. Generally, when you go to the gym, right, you're going to put your headphones in and you internalize the tracks. You're going to put the music on that gets you pumped up, right, because it starts to evoke an emotion, a feeling. So that's the purpose of it. And it rings even more true at Disney, and the music is even more important at a place like that.
Yeah, I totally agree. And to me, what makes it so cool about going to the Disneyland Resort is that there are so many different types of music at the park at all times. So let's just take it when you first walk into Disneyland itself, you go through down Main Street, maybe you run into the Disneyland band. And then maybe as you keep walking down Main Street further, you hear the Dapper Dans. And then maybe when you get in front of the castle, you're gonna have the what do they call it? The Pearly Band, the band from Mary Poppins. They perform in front of the castle sometimes, right? But you walk around the park and there's constant noise, there's constant laughter. There's rides, right? You can hear it. When the parks got shut down for COVID, during what was that 2020? My sister worked at the park at the time, and when they first reopened, they did cast member previews, which was super cool. And one of the things I noticed, first of all, was that it was a very limited capacity at that time. We're talking like I could walk and I could hear everything. I was standing next to the Matterhorn, right, on the Fantasyland ride, or the Fantasy, whatever it's
On the
called, Fantasyland side of
Fantasyland
it.
side of
Yeah, yeah,
Matterhorn?
yeah. Thank you.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and I could hear Big Thunder Mountain all the way on the other side of the park, and I could hear people screaming. And it's just so interesting when the. I think the lack of sound sometimes makes it so aware of how vast the space is, also, right? And I'm not saying that I didn't enjoy the space in front of me, but it definitely was eye opening to not be able to have the crowd noise fill in space at the same time. So here's what I want to do today, guys. I thought it'd be fun if we do a live reveal. Prior to getting on this day, I asked the guys to come up with their top five Disneyland Resort, that includes both parks, soundtracks. That could be a ride, it could be a show, it could be anything. But we're going to reveal them live. I don't know if they have something that I have on their list and vice versa. Okay, so we're going to kick it off with Jordan. Why don't you tell us your top five, starting with number five?
Yeah, sure. So my personal number 5 is something that has changed through the years, but definitely has a favorite iteration to me. And that is the music of Space Mountain. And my favorite version is, I believe it was the late 90s to early 2000s, Dick Dale version of the ride. I'm talking about that hardcore surfing synth roller
because
coaster
because
music.
because Jordan's the biggest surfer out there, so he loves Dick Dale. Clearly,
Yeah.
you guys should have seen Jordan in high school. We'll bring up a photo. Jordan had long bleached hair in high school, walked around with a surfboard. No, you didn't, not at all. Jordan was like in the AV club, if you believe that one or not, and having a good time.
But you know what?
But hey,
That
that's
music is iconic, though. Like, I honestly, like, I always wish they'd bring it back. I think it really, like, played to the tune of the turns and the drops. I mean, you just really felt like you were almost in a story with Space Mountain. So I just
yeah.
love that version.
Correct me if I'm wrong. And by the way, we're going to include a link to a Spotify. We're going to yeah, right. Okay, yeah, that's what I was getting at. So we're gonna make a Spotify playlist so that you can actually listen along as we talk about these tracks, and we'll leave that in the links for you. But that is the one that started off with like the weird noises as you enter the
Yeah. It told a
wah,
story.
and then like Jeremy, hire me for your next track. By the way, I do choir work also. You're more than welcome to pay me a lot less to sound just
There's
as
going to be a surprise in the edit of this, just so you know.
yeah, I'm
For
sure
that.
there is. Whatever. And then once you get to the top, it goes bump, bump, bump,
Yeah.
bump.
It built up.
Yeah,
Like, they
yeah,
have never
yeah.
done
Okay.
something like that again. Like, now it's like space music. They kind of have something, but it's
Yeah, yeah.
that one was just perfect.
You know what? That is a good one.
That is a good one.
I can safely say, just so everyone knows, that is not in my list at all. No Space Mountain in my list. Okay, so I'm happy you said that. Jeremy, what's your number 5?
I was back and forth on this for my number 5 because the two that were I'll tell you right now, the two that were battling in the list for the 5th spot for me were OG Haunted Mansion, which is, the normal version, Grim Grinning Ghosts, and Michael Giacchino's Space Mountain, the newer one from the 2005.
Oh, interesting.
Um, yeah, so I for me, it's the same concept, right? It evokes the fun. It tells a story. I think it's one of Michael's best scores in a long time, right? I mean, that was from the era of Up and The Incredibles and Ratatouille and all the Pixar films, and he was on his rise and building out those relationships, and they had him do Space Mountain. And so that's the version that we hear today. And for me, it's just super fun, right? I think the use of theremin in it is fantastic.
That
It
is cool.
feels, yeah,
Can you explain what a theremin is? Really, for people that don't know what a theremin is, can you explain what that is?
it's what Jordan's doing. It's the
No,
thing
no,
where,
no.
yeah.
I want you to. Wait, you look like a
It's,
wizard and do it for me, please. Can you make the noise at the same time?
oh, yeah. Yeah. It's the thing. It's like the wooden block with the metal bits sticking out. One's a circle, and the other one's a rod that goes straight up. And the circle, it's not a circle, but it's like the round piece. The round piece is volume, and the rod going straight up is pitch. So, the further away you go from the pitch, the higher in volume, or maybe it's the higher up, the higher volume, the lower
Because
volume.
it's based off straight sound waves. Like, you're not actually touching anything, right? That's like the
Correct.
big thing to the theremin.
Yeah, it's like sound waves and magnetism, or I can't even remember. It's been
Yeah,
years
it's
since I used
ridiculous.
it. But yeah, and then
From
the
the triple
volume is
scoop for the
closer you go, the
Disney,
louder,
leave with the music
So
knowledge.
interesting.
yeah.
Cool.
And it's not something that's used very often. It's used in Mars Attacks is the other recent one that we'd all remember. And then was it the original Day the Earth
That
Stood
is
Still?
the original first time it was used in a film. Correct.
Yeah, that's the
Wow, look at you guys nerding out right now so hard on this. I love it. I love it.
Theremin's a great instrument, and I think Michael used the use of string runs to emulate the curves, the turns. When you go up, it goes boom. When you go down, boom. And it was just a really smart use of it, but it's timed very well. It feels faster than the old surf mode. So I love that. And then Grim Grinning Ghost was tied for number 5 for me because it's just such a classic. It's Buddy Baker. Wasn't that one of the first times Walt didn't hire the Sherman brothers, and they had someone from the team write the lyrics, and then
It
they
might
had
be.
Buddy do the music? Fact check me please on this, but God, every time I hear it, like, it's one of those things that just randomly pops up on the radio or like in my car, and I'll just listen to it, and I'll make my kids listen to it.
For
I mean,
sure.
who writes lyrics like "Grim Grinning Ghosts come out to socialize"? Who writes that anymore? I just think the vocal arrangements of it, it's just all the fun jazz that's just
So I'm
singing
gonna
loud. It's like a haunted party going at all times, and no one writes like that anymore. So I love it.
I'm gonna debunk you really quickly. Yeah, that wasn't the first
It
time.
wasn't the first one. Okay,
No,
was it the first
Sherman
part?
Brothers. No, and I'll get to. I don't believe it was because
Okay,
the Haunted Mansion opened up after Walt's death, actually,
right.
and the ride I'm gonna bring up was before that, and this ride wasn't written by the Sherman Brothers either. So
Wait,
I'm gonna.
pirates.
Well, thank you for stealing my thunder.
Yeah, because I just
Uh,
watched the episode recently on Disney Plus. That was the one that was in my head. Yeah.
So yes, my number five is Pirates of the Caribbean. Yo ho yo ho, a Pirate's Life for me.
Woo.
I think that you can't go anywhere in the world, and I'm going to use that in the world where this isn't a known song. I think that it is classic Disney. It's Disney at its finest, taking something that's a little bit spooky, scary, a little bit more adventurous, but bringing it down to a childlike level in just the melody of the song. You know, yo ho, a pirate's life, and then even the music, do 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 do, right? It's not super, it's not super scary, but you still get that sense of like this is fun. I want to be a pirate, but we also know that the lyrics kind of dictate what the pirates did. They plunder, they steal, they do this, they do that, and they get drunk the entire time. But screw it, yo ho, right? And Jeremy and I, fun fact, have a song like this in our fraternity that we're not going to be singing on the show that has the same tune. So just proving that this tune is worldwide and kind of covers everything. And that was again done in 1960, what 1965, 1966, 1966.
It's
Is when
also
it.
the last line of Pirates of the Caribbean, the movie, when
Yep.
Jack Sparrow just says, "Drink up, me hearties, yo ho," and then it
No.
cuts to the credits.
Yeah, and this ride opened in 1967. This was the last ride that Walt personally saw over and everything. We know that he passed shortly after due to lung cancer, unfortunately, and he didn't get to see the rest of the park open. Like Jordan and I said previously in a previous episode, we got to go to Walt's office and saw the version of the Disneyland map that had everything planned out. The next ride attraction opening up was Haunted Mansion, had it laid out for there, and that's kind of a cool little nod right there. All right, Jordan, what's your number four?
Oh, number four. So we have already lightly touched. I think I'm going to be the first one to really hit a Sherman Brothers song.
I know
But
what this
it's going to
is.
be a deep cut song. I actually
Mm.
probably think neither of you even know this song.
Yeah, not someone I think it is then. Okay,
It
now
was
I'm
for
curious.
a ride that was in uh, Tomorrowland
Oh,
through.
can I guess? Can I guess? Can I guess?
Yeah,
Now I
you
want
can
to guess.
guess.
Is it Miracles from Molecule? Is that it?
That is my
I knew
number
it. I knew
4.
it. I knew it.
Miracles
Okay.
from Molecules by
Yeah.
the Sherman
Okay.
Brothers for
Yeah.
Monsanto's trip through inner space.
Give us a little sing along. Come on, Jordan. I want to hear your
Yeah,
beautiful
sure.
voice.
Miracles from molecules are something every day.
Very excited about it.
Discoveries for happiness in a magical array. Yeah, it's a great song. It's a learning song. It's fun. I don't know. If you want, you can see this ride. They have someone who put a full
Mm.
graphic version of this where you can just go through the whole ride on YouTube. They have the original soundtrack for the whole thing. And this was the music they played when you were leaving the ride. How I was exposed to this is my dad is a huge Disney history fan. So I've always been exposed to stuff that was predates me. But I don't know if any of you remember back in the day at Disneyland, they used to have a thing next to the magic shop where you could build your own like music CDs, Disney CDs, custom
Oh yeah.
CDs. And I built one filled with like 80s Disney music. And that song I listened to over and over again. So it's a
And
classic.
you still have it today. I'm pretty sure
I
too.
probably have the CD, but I don't have a CD
No.
player. Yeah.
Jordan's Spotify now is just like massive.
We're
Like you
not
go
we're
into
not going
like
to
just
talk about my Spotify. It's deep cut Disney 101.
it's very. I'll give you that. All right, Jeremy, number four. What you got?
My number four is I'll give you the melody and I'll let you guess it. Dun 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 dun. Yeah,
All right, I
fantastic.
have to interrupt you. I have to interrupt you because that's my number four too.
Really,
Uh,
Woo, me
yeah,
it
yeah,
too.
has to
yeah,
be.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because I mean I've got other like honestly for me, Phantasmic could have been anywhere on the top four. Definitely not five. It needs to be in the top four.
Mhm.
I've just got three others that I like just as much, so it landed at number four. But Yeah, it's had iteration after iteration over many years now at this point. Bruce Healy wrote the main theme for it. And that out of all the changes and iterations around the world that this show has been through, the one constant is that one theme. And again, nobody writes them like that. They just don't make it like this anymore. It was, the magic and fantasy and imagination, and it's just all the things. It's all the things you want. It hits
I
every
think the word I use is classic, instant classic.
yeah.
Like I think that it is probably the most iconic way to end your night at the park, other than fireworks. Right? We all know fireworks over Main Street's magical, but if we're going to talk about Disney like Disney night spectaculars, Fantasmic was the groundwork for going outside of fireworks, right? It was the first real step in that direction of like, let's do something else at night and kind of see what happens. I think that the it still works today too. The horns, it doesn't sound like it's dated even. It sounds pretty modern still to me. I think my favorite part in all of that soundtrack or the entire show is the opening and the ending. I love the opening as my lighting design teacher in college told me once, Ben, you're really good at presenting the idea all at once, but what you have to do is build it more. And they do such a good job of starting with a single note and then another note, and it starts layering. Yeah,
Imagination.
and then dun 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 dun, and the lights go with it,
And the
right?
thing
And
is, this song definitely, I would say, it's not my top personal favorites, but I would say it's in the top 3 or 4 most iconic songs of like the Kiss Goodnight of Disney, basically.
yeah, I think it's great. I think and then the finale of it, right? When you go the opposite, once the evil's defeated, Maleficent, rest in peace, Murphy. We really miss you. Hope you come back someday. But rest in like once Murphy, they get rid of Maleficent, right? They have the iconic steamboat come out with Mickey in black and white, and it goes boom with the music, and everything's awesome. I think the flag waving with the horns is fun. I think my favorite part of that whole thing is that once the boat turns and you see the back, you have on the top of the boat, you have the Toy Story characters, and Buzz's costume is the funniest thing to shake to because it's so bulky. So next time you go to the park and you're watching Fantasmic, or go on YouTube and find a video, watch Buzz as he dances because it's really funny to see this bulky like woo, and it's like just going the entire time with his little pennant. And anyway, I know that you guys are going to make fun of me in the comments about
You're
that. It's
getting
all
into
good.
it.
Yeah, yeah.
Forget the
It's
comments.
like
We're gonna make fun of you on the video
yeah,
for it.
yeah. All right, Jordan, number 3. What do you
Yeah,
got?
yeah. Let's see. My number 3 is going to be basically most of my list is going to be stuff from my own childhood because I don't like today.
Oh my
But
god.
I'm gonna go with a show.
I don't like today.
I'm
So
gonna go with a show that was very important to my life. Ben's gonna have a certain reaction to this, but we're gonna go with the soundtrack to Captain EO. It's iconic.
So wait, just to be clear, number 3 of all time in the entire resort, you're choosing Captain EO.
Yeah.
you are as like you
Like
said about hey
that is
howdy
such
hey Jordan. That is a
yeah,
choice.
that is a very big choice. I do have a certain feeling about it, but not for the reason that anyone else is thinking. I'll let Jordan explain at the end of this
No, I'm
why.
not. You've already talked about this, but I'm going to talk about why this is great.
Yeah,
First
let me
off,
hear
I
it.
mean, let's just talk about the production of that, which is they got what Coppola, they got George Lucas to make this incredible film, and then Michael Jackson used, I believe, there's 2 songs in the film that are actual songs that were on albums for him. The song "Another Part of Me" is in like maybe his top 50 greatest songs. It's something that stuck with me through my whole life, and they're incredible pop fun. Like when you left that theater, you were feeling good. You go into that theater, you're kind of freaked out as a kid. It's dark. You have this scary trash woman that's trying to grab you. But then by
Is
the
that
end of it,
Angelica?
you're just dancing your way out. Yeah, I mean, she's like made of trash. I don't know.
But it was Angelica Houston, right? That's who
Angelica
was in it.
Houston, yeah.
Yeah. So what Jordan's saying is that he entered that feeling, entered that theater afraid, but he left feeling touched. Is what he's trying
But
to
that
say.
music in the beginning is pretty cool too with the stars, and it's like it's
Dan,
so sci-fi. It's so
Dan,
cool.
Dan, keep this age appropriate. This is Disney we're talking about, my friend.
I know Jeremy got that. Jordan just went right over it. I was like,
I don't even want to know what Ben said. Never mind.
He said you entered the theater feeling afraid for Michael Jackson's show, and you left feeling touched.
touched.
I'm glad I skipped right over that. Well, you know what?
Okay.
I say it's great. I don't think either of you are big sci-fi heads, but it's a really cool sci-fi story,
No, but you
and the
know what?
music's great.
It fit Tomorrowland better than what's in Tomorrowland today. I'll give you that. I think that it was a
Better than Honey, I
futuristic.
Shrunk the Audience, that's for sure.
That's even
That has
gone
a
now, isn't
great
it?
song too. That invention
No.
music, they use that everywhere. The
Well,
Institute
who did
music, I love that
who
song.
did wasn't that Eric Idle on that too? I mean, who doesn't like Eric
Yeah,
Idle and
Eric Idle was
Disney,
the host of
right?
the show, but
Yeah,
the
right.
Adventure Institute. I don't know. So good.
Keep going. I want to hear it
I
again. Do it
couldn't
again.
do it. I can't do it. You know what?
Sure.
Add it to the Spotify list. That's a bonus track for everyone.
That's a deep cut from Jordan.
Yeah.
Deep cuts from Jordan. Okay. Okay, I'm not giving you crap. I think that Captain EO has a place in Disneyland history. It came back for a period of time. It's super popular again amongst people our age. I totally agree with you. Holds a special place in my heart with your heart, just because we really had a good time with that video
Yeah.
back in high school. Anyway, Jeremy, what's your number 3?
Mine is going to be the most controversial topic of the last 2 years at Disneyland, and it is the music for Splash Mountain. Um, I I know I understand the controversy and everything, and that's fine. And I'm excited to go and try Tiana's. I love the music of Tiana, so I'm just gonna say that first. But and we spoke about this a bit in our I think it was in the D23 attractions episode. Um, Man, the music was just so iconic from
Oh
Splash
yeah.
Mountain. And I really and here's the thing, right? The reason people had such uproar over a ride that opened in the 80s was because of the music. I'll say it. It had everything to do with Zippity Doo Dah. That it had everything to do with the form and the flow of the attraction and the way the music again, just like Space Mountain, right, when Giacchino came in and redid it, same type of thing. Everything was done with a purpose. There was, when you go down into the depths of the mountain, that's when things get darker, right? Because you're heading down in a downward descent. Things start to get darker, and then you have this slow rise back up to the top, and you have to escape, and then boom, you splash
It's
down,
not.
and you get
It's not.
zippity doo
It's.
dah.
I'm just thinking about like the descent up the mountain. I almost want to say they used a theremin in that too, like the
A theremin?
like, yeah, theremin. Sorry, didn't they? I feel like they did
No.
I don't
because
think so.
like in
No.
my head, man, because didn't they go who's
Are you talking about like the
What
the
would
the
poor
incline up
Brer
to the top?
Rabbit do to
yeah, but
keep
then
from
womp,
becoming
but then no,
rabbit
but
stew?
and they kept going up the mountain. And I'm like fairly positive they had that
I think it's still a
womp, like
horn, but okay.
I mean
It
whatever.
might be a choir. Oh no, it's a choir. There's
Okay,
a choir
Oh
singing.
yeah, the choir one. Oh yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Like in my head, I'm like they really built it up.
Yeah.
Fun fact though, speaking about music with that ride, have you both either of you ever seen the promo video for Splash Mountain before it
Yes.
opened?
Yeah.
Yes, and we'll put a link
Like,
to that in the comments
yeah.
because it is Oh, are you talking about the
Well,
grand opening ceremony or the
I don't know if it's
promo
grand
video?
opening ceremony. I don't know if it's. I think it's a
Oh,
promo
if
where
you haven't seen the opening ceremony, that is a treat.
I think it might
Yeah.
be the same one and the same. It's very. If it's the one I'm thinking of, it's
Where they're all
juxtaposition.
dancing on
It's
top of
on.
the mountain
Yeah, and it's like very like
and the hot
80s
air
hip
balloons
hop.
and stuff are going in the
Uh,
background.
no, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like the construction workers singing zippity doo da doo boop boop boop, and then they're like walk. If you haven't seen that,
Okay, I
like
think
I'll
I've
have to
seen that
link
one.
it. But like it's such juxtaposition of what's on the ride actually that it's super funny. It was like we need to appeal to teens of today, so we're gonna make this all fun and edgy. And then bum, ba, da, bum, ba, 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 da, ba, and you're just it's like so funny to me that's different. Um,
But yeah,
look, Tiana's
as for a ride just with Splash Mountain, the whole thing is just flawless from start to finish. The music,
Wait,
everything,
favorite song though from the ride. What is it?
zippity doo dah.
has to be
Zippity?
zippity doo da.
I
Yeah,
love
for
How Do
me
You
it's good.
Do. How Do You Do is great.
How do you do is like the perfect way to open it for
Yeah.
sure. But that's what I'm saying. Like the whole thing from start to finish. I don't think I have a favorite section.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah, and I think that's like a biggest. I mean, we haven't been on Tiana's in Disneyland yet, so it's hard for me. And I see comments in the group, and I get it. Change is hard for anyone. Change sucks sometimes, and like yeah, like it's going to be hard because I do think right start to finish that ride was very musical, and hearing and seeing the new version of it, it's still music. It's still there, but I don't think the story is cohesive, and I think that's the biggest complaint that we're going to experience in person probably. And
There's no
We're gonna leave
depth
our
or character development
yeah,
in it, right? It's
yeah.
just go find musicians out in the bayou, right? Which fine, that's okay. It's great, good, that's fine. I'm not gonna knock it because like you said, we haven't ridden it yet. But if we're talking about for the purpose of this episode, Splash Mountain had a flawless story for the ride itself. The music supported every element of the story. The music also supported every incline and every drop. And it was just a cohesive unit from start to finish. There was nothing that needed to be fudged to make it work. It was just,
Okay.
yeah. And it was catchy as all hell. And I still sing
Yeah.
it in my head from time to time.
I think you're just crazy, so you sing that all the time in your head. I'm curious if one of you. I'm not going to say the one I'm going to keep going, but I'm curious to see the rest of your list now that you were saying this. I'm surprised by some of the ones you're saying. I'll put it that way. Jordan, I'm not surprised that you're doing deeper cuts. That doesn't surprise me. Jeremy, I'm a little surprised at. I'm
You won't be
surprised that we both
surprised
had.
at my top two. They're
I
very
think.
obvious for me. Like you won't be surprised.
I think I'm going to take your top two. One of them is what I think
Probably.
right now.
I think so too.
Um, but what I thought it was funny. You both had Phantasmic. That was a great one. All right, my number three of the entire resort, hands down, Indiana Jones Adventure, the great John Williams. And I feel like Jeremy, this has to be in your top two because I know that you love John Williams. So in my head, I'm like, it has to be. What? Don't ruin the surprise, but I'm assuming it's somewhere up there. For me personally, this ride is when we're talking start to finish, the entire experience. Let's go back to the beginning of the queue. Even I think it's done so well. I think we're talking sound design specifically. The lack of sound sometimes in the queue, or just a water droplet or a bat or this or that, builds the intensity up the entire time you're in there. Then when you finally get on the right vehicle and you hear Sala's voice, or welcome my friends to the it's like a very like it puts it right in the mood. The other
Good
fun fact
Sala
about this
impression.
ride, thank you. I've worked on that all week,
Yeah,
so thank you. That really,
just want to
really,
bring the props.
I should have. Uh, I have doesn't matter. I was gonna say I have whips at
Wait, do you
home, but I'm
have a
like, I didn't say
costume?
that. Yeah, I'm not gonna just
Come with me, my friends.
come with me, my friends, if you want to survive. Come on. um, Fun fact about this ride also is that this ride encompasses every soundtrack from the first three movies. There's a little bit of each soundtrack from the movies in different parts of the ride. So starting with Rangers of the Lost Ark, going to Temple of Doom, and then Last Crusade, there are different parts built into the ride itself. Um, we're talking about Space Mountain and the way that the music Giacchino was doing with the drops and the flows, the way that the Imagineers took apart the soundtrack here with John Williams and really emphasized the fear when you would go into like the room of skeletons and the ride vehicle would flow. Or let's talk about the end of the ride, right? Right, the boulder scene where your car stops and you like are stuck, and then you see Indy, and then you hear that dun 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 dun, and it starts that slow build, and then right as the boulder comes out, you have the main theme, dun 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 dun, and you go boom, right? That's that's the coda. It's the cherry on top for me on that ride. Jeremy, you like that word there, coda? See, I know my
Ah.
stuff. Look at that.
I was so what's interesting is that was another one that I was battling for a top 5 spot. Um I, there's two I have like probably 8 or 10 rides that should be in the top 5.
Oh, you didn't put this in there.
It's not in
Yeah,
there.
I agree with that too. I think
Oh,
the reason I took things like Indiana Jones or Star Tours or Star Wars out is because they're original from the movie soundtracks, but so is Splash Mountain at the end of the day. But it's like I don't know
Yeah.
why I don't associate them as much with the parks as I do the movies.
I don't know. I just think that that's a good use, in my opinion, of storytelling with music without having words. So, like you're talking about Splash Mountain, for example, that all has lyrics to it, right? This, on the other hand, has no lyrics. It has a choir at times, a screeching choir,
Sure.
but it adds to the intensity of the ride. So, I think to me, when you listen to that music, I can listen to like the ride through, right? And I can like, depending on where the music hits, I can put myself right in that position of the ride, and know exactly what's going on.
You
It's
want a
super
fun
fun.
fact on the ride?
Sure.
My mentor, Richard Bellis, wrote the music, well, arranged the music for the ride. And years ago, when I was starting to get in with the Disney stuff, I called him and I wanted to know about his experiences. And he invited me over to the studio and he let me take home scores of music to study and look at. So for a period of time, I had all of his handwritten sketches and scores to the Indiana Jones ride, as well as the original Star Tours, including all the spotting notes that he had with the creative director as they were building the experience, for everything. I got to see the drawn, um, the the blueprints of the shuttle before it was built that he had. And
Oh, that's awesome.
with Indiana Jones, the way it worked was they would go and sit in the car and actually experience the ride and try to be taking notes while they're on the ride. Like today's world, you get a video or you go and talk, you maybe walk through, maybe you get to ride it, maybe you get to experience a prototype, and then they give you the amount of time that this section's going to be, and you do that. But back then, there wasn't the technology. It was you literally had to understand the scores, and he had to sift through all of the Indiana Jones scores from the three
I
movies. Like,
mean, and you see that firsthand when you're on the ride. I mean, when the car reacts to the snake and the music reacts to the snake with
Mhm.
the high pitched sound right there, it's like you can tell they wrote this to make the score work with it.
And
yes.
that is why it's my number 3. Like it's a staple for
Oh,
me. It's a
man.
must do every
So
time we
good
go
job,
there.
Ben.
I
All right,
totally
number
missed
2.
another one that probably could have been number 3 for me if I can jump in with it really quick.
Or do you want to do
Sure.
bonus ones at the end? But yeah.
We'll do bonus ones at the end. Let me write it down so I don't forget it.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
got,
yeah.
All right,
got some bonus ones.
Jordan, give me your number 2. We're in the top 2 now. These are the big
Yeah,
ones.
the top two. I'm going to stick with the theme of my own childhood. So this is something again that's going to be popular. The ride actually opened in 1986 and held its place till 2001. And I am, of course, talking about none other than the Country Bear Vacation Hoedown. And this is a show that has confused me to this day on what the actual song lyrics are to certain songs. I will tell you that until I was probably a grown adult, I thought the song was "Thank God I'm a Country Bear," because there is no other version I heard until that point. So there was no such thing as John Denver to me.
But you didn't know John Denver. You just knew Country Bears, and that's Disney ruled all.
I
Okay.
rode that
Okay.
ride probably maybe 300
You
times. I mean,
you mean you sat on that
I
ride? Or is
sat
that
on that ride. You know what? It counted as
yeah?
a ride to me. When you
It's not a
look at
ride.
it is a ride because when you go on a Disney map, where are things like that listed? In the ride section. So it is always a ride to me.
That's
Can't argue
whatever.
that.
That is an attraction.
But
It's
I
not a
will say
ride.
this was an
Like,
iconic show.
mhm.
It is
Ah,
actually
you
the
called it a show.
yeah,
Yeah.
show
See there.
ride,
See,
whatever.
there it is. I'm
I don't care.
like
To continue on my point, I just want to say that this show it was a really unique blend of taking iconic songs of the time and mixing it with really great audio animatronic technology. I mean, you had full-size bears that were singing all these songs. You had an Elvis one, you had a John Denver one, you had a whole band that did like a Willie Nelson. What's his name? Oh man, it doesn't matter. I just remember that
it was.
Riders on the Storm or
They had an Elvis one. They had a.
yeah. But they had a Johnny
I.
they kind of had a Johnny Cash feel to it. Like everything was country based. They had
Mhm.
the song Rocky Top. I mean, it was a really cool show, and people were always singing it. I mean, there's a reason its last day. I remember being there on its last day, and people were filled and singing every song. I mean, this was important to people. I have seen the other versions, the ones in Disney World, the ones in Tokyo.
Well,
To me, obviously, this one will always be the best.
didn't they make a second version though of the one in Disneyland? It was like the vacation one
Yeah, well,
also.
they do the
Yeah.
seasonal, well, it's
Yeah.
always
Right.
the vacation hoedown, but there was a Christmas version.
Okay. I knew there was something. I
Yeah,
thought
they
that was
do
like
Jingle
different from time to
Bells
time.
and they do all that stuff. It was great.
I really hope that with the opening of the barbecue restaurant being themed to the Country Bears, I mean, I know we're not going to get like a show per se, but I'm hoping that maybe they play the soundtrack or at least just the music of the show without lyrics in
Yeah.
the background, or maybe they include the animatronics from was it Buck and what are their names? You know what I'm talking about? Like the
Are you talking about
buffalo, the
the
deer.
3 heads,
Yeah,
the 3
yeah,
stumps?
yeah. The bust. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. So maybe we get those back in the restaurant as you're ordering food. They like
I
say
mean, they
stuff
got
to
to
you or
take those
something.
out of Winnie the Pooh then.
That's not hard to do. It's
I
literally.
like them in Winnie the Pooh. Every time I go on Winnie the Pooh, my head is turned backwards.
Well, I mean, that ride may make your hair
Oh,
turn
looking
backwards
for
for a
the
bunch of different.
yeah.
I love going to
Yeah.
see them. Yeah.
All right, Jeremy, number 2. What is it?
So really quick, Country Bears is actually my wife's favorite attraction of all time at Disney from her childhood, just the same. So I understood why you put that as your number 2. I barely remember it because it wasn't mine, but my wife was super sad when they took it away. My number 2 is Soren.
I knew it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and Ben, is that your number 2?
Nope.
Yep. Okay. So Soren, first time I heard that was the game changer for me. That was the thing that made me like really realize what could be done in this with these attractions, with theme parks, with music. And for those of you that don't know, and I'm talking about, by the way, I'm talking about Soarin' over California specifically. The new Soarin' was rearranged by Bruce Broughton, which is another one of my mentors and teachers. But um, the classic Soarin' Over California by Jerry Goldsmith to me just hits such a different way. When I was in grad school at USC, we actually used Soarin' as the temp track and the inspiration for a virtual reality project that I was scoring back in 2011, pre-Oculus, pre-HTC Vive. And it was a project called Shade by Julie Griffo. It was her master's thesis, and her dream was to go work at Imagineering. So for her master's thesis project, she made this VR thing where you entered into a physical cave that she built out of like paper mache and stuff. It's like a 12-foot by 12-foot cave, and then you put the headset on, which at the time was like a skateboard helmet and ski goggles with a terrible HMD, which stands for head mounted display, right on it. You put that over, and then that was connected to this series of cables that was like this thick, that was all connected to a computer off to the side, and they had to have an assistant move the cables around so you could move. And we wrote 4 or 5 cues to that, each one for a different element, and you could walk around and explore this alien world and interact with the aliens. And then the final area was they'd sit you down on this rock that would move from side to side and front and back, and they would gently nudge you with the video, and you would do a flyover of the whole thing. And we modeled the flyover after Soarin'. And so yeah, that ride just had, that's the one that really made me go, I want to do stuff for theme parks and music. Like that was the one that did it. When I was working on Shade, my teacher at USC was a guy named Kenny Hall, who was the music editor on Soarin'. And he said, hey, I've got something to show you, and you've got 10 minutes before class starts. Here you go. And he handed me a copy of the score and told me I'm not allowed to photocopy it. And I will let you think about where I ran to next with that score, and then gave it back to him. But yeah, so that score played a very big role in my career.
Nice. Great
I
choice.
think Soren's a great ride. I don't like the new versions of it personally, but that's just because I'm old. But I think that I do. I think that it's beautiful. The I can't think of a bad part. I just keep thinking about the really softness of that. The da na na.
Oh yeah, when
I'm not
you're
doing it
one of the
justice.
most important parts is when you're in the line, that loading area, and it's just,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
So
blaring.
tower to
It's got a little bit of a military feel to it. I think a lot of people with that Air Force feel. It's cool.
But I think it ties back to Walt being patriotic almost, right? Like we
Yes.
were talking about previously. It's very reminiscent of old Disney in that sense without being in your face about it.
Hmm.
It's a nice little aviation history there. And then it takes you all over, at least Silver River, California, takes you over the monuments of California, what makes the Golden State so awesome. Um, I think it's great. I knew that was going to be in your top two. That's why I purposely didn't put it in my top two because I knew that it held a special place for you. All right, so my second one is a little bit of a cheat. I'm going to give you a caveat. Both of my top 1 and 2 are cheats. And why I say that is because it's not just one thing. So for me, I think my favorite part about going to Disneyland is Fantasyland. I chose the Fantasyland Dark Ride Suite, which encompasses Pinocchio, Peter Pan, Mr. Toad, and Alice in Wonderland all on one track. So I didn't really cheat, but it is. I will
No,
link
I
it so
agree
you
with you. It
can.
feels like one thing.
To me, this is the core of what Disneyland is the dark rides of our childhood, of what our parents also grew up with, right? Um, I I think that you can hear a single note from any of these, any of the rides or a little segment, and you'll be transported right into that part of the ride or that movie. I think one of my favorite parts of the Pinocchio ride is when you're in Pleasure Island and they're like saying hi diddly dee doo 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 doo, and then out of nowhere there's this like French horn that goes ba 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 ba, and it's off beat with everything else. But again, Jeremy, going to what you're talking about, that creates that sense of like, wait, Pleasure Island is not a good place to be. There's a little bit of like
Well,
Yeah,
that scene in general is also maybe the most annoying scene in all of Disney, and you guys know what I'm talking about. That like loud bang sound that's always in that room.
Yeah.
Oh my god! I'm like every time you know it's just gonna hit you out of nowhere.
I love it. And then let's go to Peter Pan, right? The way that ride opens up, you go right through the loading station into the
Classic.
nursery room, and then
Classic.
you go flying over London, and you hear Peter's voice go, "Here we go!" And then the build up,
Yep.
and then it goes, "Think of a one," it goes into the song,
Yeah.
and then at that
Goodbye.
moment you're soaring over London, right? And as a kid, what an
Pouring over
awesome
London.
soaring over London. I see an idea there.
Let's
You
make
see,
it.
Euro Disney's coming more than Paris. We all know it. It's going to be in London soon. Got to compete with Universal. We know it's coming. Just saying. Uh, but I think that is an iconic part. There's a reason why the Peter Pan's line is always long. It's because you're flying literally over the set. It gives that sensation for a young
Classic.
child. It's just cool. Going into Mr. Toad, merrily, merrily, merrily,
On
merrily
our
on our
way to
way, no
nowhere in
way.
particular.
And I will put money that no kids that go to Disneyland, I mean, let's be real, they don't know Mr. Toad. I mean, where are you going to know that from? You're not going to really watch Ichabod and Mr. Crane or The Wind in the Willow. Like, that's what that is. But no one, I didn't know, when I was a kid, I didn't know what this was from. Other than we get in a car, I drive it, I go crazy, I end up getting hit by a train. Suddenly I'm like with the devil and I'm out of the ride. It's very weird. It's a very bizarre ride, okay? But it's one of those things that, again, it's classic, it's fun, it's zany. And the music is just upbeat and fun. I think my favorite part of that ride is the bartender who's like the evil guy. What's his name, Jordan?
Oh yeah, I forget what the bar. Wimp.
Wimpy, something. But like he makes that devilish grin at you, and then his hands are like twirling gears,
Yeah.
and he goes,
Oh, it's gonna kill me.
and you're like,
Winky.
yeah,
Winky.
Winky. Of course, his name is Winky. What a weird name. I also love that they put. Oh, maybe I'm thinking of Roger Rabbit, but I am thinking Roger Rabbit. Never mind. The bowl in a china shop scene, but that's Roger Rabbit. It's
Yeah.
not the weasel. The
I
weasels are
can
like
see
on the
how you could
chandeliers.
confuse Mr. Toad and Roger Rabbit.
Well, yeah, they
You
got
really could.
similar henchmen.
They're
You
both
could.
Well,
cars.
if
Okay.
anything, they borrowed the henchmen from Mr. Toad for.
Yeah, weasels.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they're weasels. Okay, and then wrapping that up, you have Alice in Wonderland on this track also. That to me has some of the most iconic Disney music. I mean, ever. Like just from just listening to the soundtrack by itself, it's a standalone soundtrack. It's beautiful. You can put it on in your office. It's background music. You put on in a nursery room. Super easy to listen to. Very pretty. Golden Afternoon, right? Then you go into Painting the Roses Red. Then the Card March. Like there's da 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 na 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 na. It's just catchy music, upbeat. And when you're in line, like bum ba dum bum bum ba da 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 da
And
da
then you end it with the Tea
bum
Party.
yeah, right. And then the tea party, right at the end with the big explosion. Yeah, it's a zany, fun ride, and to me, that is what Disneyland is. It is supposed to harken you back to childhood at the core. That is why Fantasyland's in the middle, right? It's the heart. It's the pulse. So that is why that's my number two. Okay, guys, number ones, big ones, and then I got a curveball for you after this. So be ready. Jordan, what's your number one?
Yeah.
Or should we wait? Wait, should we guess? Wait, should we guess?
Yeah,
I want to
you can
guess.
give a
I'm
guess,
never
but
going to be able to guess Jordan's top.
I know. That's what I'm
I'm
thinking.
not
Also,
going crazy deep cut here.
is it modern or old?
It's old, but it's not like a deep cut, I don't think. Got a guess?
I
Disneyland
got
or
nothing.
California Adventure?
I would say that it's only in Disney World now, but it's used in every park
It's only in Disney World now.
right now, but it's used in every park.
People Mover?
Is some of a
No,
figment?
no, the music is used in every park to this day.
No, then I have no idea.
I am going to go with it. Kind of leans back into your Phantasmic. I consider it a staple of the parks. It goes with Wish Upon a Star, stuff like that, and that is another Sherman Brothers hit. Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
okay. Okay.
The
That's a good
Carousel of
choice.
Progress.
Yeah.
This
That's
is
a
Okay.
good choice.
something that is Walt Disney all the way. This is
Yep.
what encompasses, the Tomorrowland idea of what we can do as people for the future. And I love that kind of idea. I went on Carousel Progress when I was about 11, 12. And for something that should be so boring, it's not. And the great part is you do learn, you have these cool audiometronics, but you have a song that constantly bridges the gap from scene to scene. And they have
Exactly.
found a way to use this song in, in fireworks shows, in parades, and videos, because it is a song that can connect with everybody and instill hope, which is one of the biggest things I think of Disney and its top songs.
And it goes like, "There's a great, big, beautiful
That's
tomorrow,
the one.
Shining at the
the
end of
living
every
end of every
day.
day.
It's
Ba
a
ba
great,
bum
They
big,
even
bum,
used it
ba
beautiful
ba da
in
tomorrow.
bum."
Captain America: The First Avenger, I think, right? When they're
Yeah,
at
I think it's in the
Star Trek
background of the
Star Trek
movie.
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
It,
when they're at the Star
I
Trek
think
stuff at the
that's
beginning.
It's a futurist song. It's
Yeah,
about
it,
hope for tomorrow. It's beautiful.
it is. Yeah, that's a good one. That is a very good one. I'll give you that, Jordan.
yeah,
You get a
that's
gold
a
star. Gold
I think the
star.
reason I
That
didn't
is
even
it.
think about that is because we didn't I mean, did we had Carousel of
No,
Progress here?
Carousel of Progress
now,
was here, but I believe it was gone by the maybe
yeah,
even
it
late
was.
70s,
It was.
early 80s.
It was.
Yes, so then I wouldn't have I would have gone on it one time at Universal
But you
Orlando.
can't
Know the
deny
song.
that song is still
Yeah.
played
Universal.
in places.
No, I'm
First of
agreeing
all,
with you. I wouldn't have even thought of it. Like
so
it's
Yeah.
a great choice.
quick Disney history. So where Carousel of Progress is, the building is still there. It's in Tomorrowland. It is where the Star Wars Bay / Disney Vacation Club is
We
now.
really need
So
to do
that
a Tron there.
they're gonna.
Fun
We'll
song.
get into tomorrow. Well, we
We'll do
can
a
dive back
Tomorrowland
into
episode.
Tomorrowland.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's
we
an
can dive back
episode
into
all on
Tomorrowland
its
another
own.
time.
What should be in
But
Tomorrowland?
but to me, so that building, the history of that, right? So Carousel of Progress was there. They got rid of it. Became America Sings, which was another roundabout
Which
type of
was
show.
borderline
That
on
one I
my
remember.
list, but I didn't want to too deep cut you guys.
But then America Sings was replaced by nothing for a period of time. And when Splash Mountain opened, they took all of the animatronics. That's why there's a lot of eagles going like this on Splash Mountain.
Yep.
That's directly from Carousel of Progress.
Yep.
So that's why it's so patriotic. That's why they had the hats and everything. It ties right back into all that. Anyway, good choice, Jordan. That's a good one. Jeremy, you're number one. I want to guess, Jordan.
All right.
And
Yes.
just tell us, is it
Give us like
Disneyland
a
or
little tease.
yeah,
Yeah.
Disneyland?
It's at Disneyland.
Oh,
Okay,
thank you.
it's
If I
at the
give you a
Disneyland.
hint, it'll give it away. So I
Oh
can't.
man,
Yeah.
it's at Disneyland. Okay. The Tiki Room.
No. God
No.
no. Dear
I'm
Lord,
gonna.
no. And I would argue and say which song from Tiki Room, by the way, if it was on it.
Oh, Tiki all the way.
God no.
So it's at Disneyland,
It's at Disneyland.
and number one,
Yeah.
Small World.
No, he's not gonna pick the. He's not gonna. Everyone could call it the
Now
number
I could
one
say
song.
as a composer arranger, I could talk about why that song is so brilliant. And I would also argue that the holidays version of Small World is probably on my runners up list, because of the way it transitions in from Small World to the holiday music.
Okay, wait, hold on.
But
That's
yeah,
gonna bug me. What land is it in?
I'm not gonna tell you. You want me to just tell you what it is?
I think we gotta give up, Ben.
Yeah, what is it? Now I'm curious.
It is Haunted Mansion Halloween. The cue
You mean you
music
mean
and the ride.
you mean the Halloween overlay
Yep.
or
The
the
Halloween overlay.
holiday overlay?
Yeah. I
Ugh.
knew, I know you can hear the la 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 la.
This
You
is
hear
a
that in your head.
number one all the way.
That doesn't that scream Jeremy all the way? Like, yeah, it's oh man, it's the one.
Why?
It is the one ride that like even now I'm 37 years old, and I always tell Ashley like if we can only pick one time of the year to go to Disneyland because of the expenses, it's got to be during Halloween because we have to go on that ride, and I want to see the pumpkin and the Mickey pumpkin. Like it's that important to me. Like it's so good. It's Danny Elfman at his absolute best. It fits everything so flawlessly. They incorporated the IP perfectly into the ride. And it's just you like even that one part that you hate so much, Ben, you remember it and it's
It's an
so
earworm. No,
catchy. Yeah.
it's an earworm. I'll give you that.
It's
I
an
mean,
earworm, but also the cue music, the way the cue music changes to
creepy, creepy,
like the
creepy,
creepy
creepy.
celeste, but it's not
Uh-huh.
that creepy though. It's haunting. It's like a playful haunting.
It's a
I don't even know
playful
how to
haunting.
describe it
No, you
correctly.
just did it. You did it. Playful haunting. That's
Yeah,
exactly what it is. It's childlike. It's not too scary that a kid won't go on the ride. It evokes the holiday feel, both spooky and like Christmas, if you will. Right? There's that little. I can hear the chiming in my head, and I can't do an impersonation of it because I'm not going to let you chop that up and edit it somehow. and I'm gonna butcher it, but I could hear it. This is you. This makes total sense to me,
I
100%.
told you.
Yeah,
You were
yeah,
not going to be
yeah.
shocked once I said it.
I'm gonna do a quick
No,
impression. La 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 la.
and your cat saying, "Put me out of my misery right now, please." Just so
My
you know.
dog's back there saying the same thing.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Um,
I mean, it's every element of the ride. It's a completely different take on Haunted Mansion, but they still kept the feel of each area, right? They still kept the same flow, but they utilized music in a completely different way. So when you really think about what they do with Haunted Mansion every year, it's a masterclass in how music can change the vibe entirely. Because it's the same ride. I mean, it's an overlay. Of course, they put all the different elements into. They put Nightmare Before Christmas across the whole thing. So you could argue it's a different ride altogether, but really it's still Haunted Mansion. It still takes you through the same areas. It still takes you out into the graveyard party in the backyard, but the music changes the vibe and the tone completely. But it's just Danny Elfman at his best. I go nuts for that ride every year.
okay. All right. My number one. You both won't guess it. I'll let you try though. It's only at Disneyland. Go for it.
It's only in Disneyland, and you can't give us
Well,
any more
it's not only at Disneyland, but the park that I'm talking about is Disneyland specific, and it's not an attraction or a
non-attraction.
ride.
Is it the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs well show, the Wishing Well?
Nope. Nope.
Is it the Tinker Bell Little Fountain show?
Now you're done. That's all your guesses, Jordan.
Is
Um,
it the Snowfall?
I said you're done. I'm not going to answer any more
is it this
questions.
random sound? Um,
You don't understand. I've been with Ben, and he goes, you got to go look at the fountain shows, man. The lighting's spectacular on them. And he like takes me and he makes me watch them all. And I'm like, I want to go
Hey,
on some rides, dude.
nah, the lighting shows are awesome, man. It's little details, man.
yeah.
Anyway,
I don't know,
Jordan,
Ben.
yes.
Is it just the music that's in the bar? I don't. I don't know.
First of all, there isn't really a bar unless you're talking about Club
It's the
33.
cantina music.
No, it's not that. Okay, so my number one, again, I'm going to cheat a little bit here. Main Street USA entering the park. I love all of that music. I think that it's brilliant. I think that in terms of getting in the mood to be, make fun of it all you want. Tell me a
No,
better way to.
pick one song from there that
No,
you
no,
love.
can't.
That's the
I,
goal.
I, I will. I will. I'm going to get to what I like about it. The addition of "Married Life" by Michael Giacchino was a really nice button on top for me. Da 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 na na. Ba, ba, da, 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 da. So taking this really sad moment from a movie and then turning it into the opening of a theme park and making it like a very cheerful moment, it fits the mood of Main Street perfectly. I think that just walking down and starting your day on Main Street, um, I love all that music. I love people watching from over there. I could sit on a bench literally at like midday, end of day, and just kind of enjoy it. Jordan doesn't believe me for a damn second, and it's funny. It's all good. This is my take, not yours. But I think that it is the staple of how you should start a day at a theme park. It's nothing that's crazy intense. It's nothing that's crazy. It's not out of the blue. And when you leave, right, the music's still there, and it's like a sad, right? When you go through that turnstile and you hear the little twinkle, like I can't mimic that
Yeah.
sound, but it like leads perfectly to it. It's like you're entering this beautiful place. It's magical and whimsical. We're stepping
It
back in
sets the
time.
mood, but it's not something you ever write home about.
I mean, I'm not writing home about miracles from molecules, just for the
Well, you
record,
know
but that
what?
was
Then we're gonna
yours.
have a
So
very different letter home.
yeah, apparently so. Give Jordan, hello mother, hello father. Here I am at Camp Granada. I love miracles from molecules. But
Send me to science camp.
yes, that means Ben's over here like I just like old timey USA. Send me to
No,
Missouri,
I just
please,
want to have a
Marcel.
nice drink, sit on a bench, and
I want to
look
have a lemonade.
creepily.
I want a Arnold Palmer and a pretzel filled with cream cheese, please, and I just want to sit in peace. Uh, no, seriously, Main Street USA is an awesome, awesome place. I think it again, like it's classic Disney to me. It's representing his hometown. It ties it all together.
Yeah,
Um,
which they want to get away from the name of his hometown. Let's not call the candy shop Marceline's anymore. I just think we should have a conversation about that down the road.
feel like we should too because I don't know what you're talking about.
The
So now I'm intrigued.
Marceline shop on downtown Disney, they're changing the name to like Candy Confections because they don't want to pay pay homage to his hometown anymore.
Is that like from like just because, or is there a reason behind
I
it?
don't know. I don't think they want to talk about it.
Interesting. Okay, didn't know that.
Side note.
Okay. Well, that is my number one. Okay, so I think Jeremy had an extra one he wanted to add. Jeremy, give yours. Jordan, if
Bonus.
you have one,
Yeah,
and then I have.
you guys got some
Go.
runners ups?
I can throw one
I
in.
I have one off the top of my head that I kind of like. That I have maybe two, but we gotta go quick with these because I don't want to go too much over our time.
Yeah. So all right. So I'll move through them real quick. Um, one is not at any of our California parks, but it's Spaceship Earth by Bruce Broughton. Holy crap! That's another masterclass in attraction writing. It's a masterclass in composition. Um, God, if you want to learn about how to adapt from one musical style to another, to another, to another, and have it flow and be flawless, and like go from Western to sci-fi to all these things in one, 5-10 minute experience,
Amazing.
that is the one to do. There's nobody better on this planet. It's incredible. Okay, number 2 runners up for me, believe it or not, it's the Better Together parade music from the Pixar parade. I thought that track is so damn catchy. I wouldn't call it iconic, but of the parade music I've heard at Disney, besides the Electric Light Parade, which actually should also be on this list right now, the Electrical Light Parade, Better Together was just a very well done, very positive, uplifting. It really got you excited. It fit well with the bright colors, with Pixar. I enjoyed it. It comes on every so often on the playlists I listen to with my daughter, and we just end up dancing in the car to it. I think it's
Is
great.
that's the one they just did for Pixar Fest, right?
Yeah.
And I,
Yeah.
I applaud Jeremy for being the first one of us to pick something that was made in the last 10 years.
I got one
I,
more for you then. The last one is the Avengers Campus land music. It is such a good arrangement. I want to say John Pisano did the arrangement. For anyone who doesn't know who John Pisano is, he did the Daredevil show on Netflix. I think he did Maze Runner. He's been around for a while. He's
no one
incredible.
saw
He
no one saw Maze Runner, just so you know. No one
uh,
saw that movie.
Maze Runner, I saw the first one. That was fine.
Of
did he
course,
do
and that's the only one you saw because the other ones were horrible. Like no one saw those movies.
it's a fun series. Anyways, on just keep it on topic and move along. It's a 13 or 14 minute, somewhere in that vicinity, arrangement that goes through all the major themes from all the major superheroes from the first 10 years. And it just incorporates them all in a unique way, modulates keys as it goes throughout, but it's done in a way that's always interesting. And every time you're walking through the land, you just feel like a superhero. So I love it. I love superheroes. Jordan knows my take on Marvel. So I've got some burnout. I don't watch all the new stuff anymore, but I could go back and watch everything from Iron Man to Endgame straight through and just have the time of my life with it every time.
All right. Cool. Marvel. It's not that I have anything against Marvel. I just think that land.
I
I just
hate that
think
you
that
could do
land.
that.
Yeah, I don't understand why you could do that. We can't.
You must
Whatever.
have a plug-in.
Yeah. Okay.
That one doesn't work.
I think until they build more in that land, I just think that it's a lot of space without a lot to do. But the music is great. I'll give you that. Okay, Jordan, what's your runner-up?
I don't know. I'll just say the Incredicoaster music, Incredibles music.
Yep.
Can't go
Yep.
wrong with
There it
that.
is. Yeah, I
Yep.
was gonna say that. So that was like what I was going in my head was that
Yeah,
definitely
can't go wrong
it's
with that song. And then to pick something from Disneyland, I like in the Tiki Room, "Sing Like the Birdies Sing." That's a great song.
tweet, tweet,
Gets
tweet,
the
tweet.
people going. Everybody's tweeting.
I look Tiki Room's underrated. I hope it never goes away, but we'll see. I hope it never does. I hope Disneyland always keeps it. I'll put it that way and maintains it, even with like the wonk out like Tiki's eyes not working properly. That is a great attraction still.
I
It's
enjoy
a cool
that one in the summer.
Oh, of course. Give me some Dole Whip and air conditioning anytime it's 100 degrees out. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
There you go.
Back corner, get a booth seat. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it keeps the kids occupied for 10 minutes. My kids will just sit and go, huh, and they'll watch it and enjoy it. And we're just we get to sit and chill in the air conditioning. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I had an
Pro tip.
ex-girlfriend ex-girlfriend loved the Tiki Room. Like it was one of the things that we did every single time. It was her favorite thing to do.
Give us
One
an
of her
extra
favorite things
one,
to do.
Ben.
My extra, so you said the one I was going to do was Incredicoaster. I think that's a really fun one. But the other one I would say, and it's not like it's a soundtrack, that's the issue I have with saying this, but I think that Guardians of the Galaxy is a perfect example of blending modern music with an attraction and having a heck of a lot of fun. I really wish that I could go to Florida and go on the Cosmic Rewind. I would love to like see that with the modern music or like the playlist.
Of course.
And I think the Guardians does a good job of music in general. Right, that franchise is music, and when you think about it, they've incorporated so much there. Okay, so now that we got that out of the way, time for a little fun. We're gonna go over Disney. Disney finished the lyrics. These are gonna be easy and hard. I'm gonna give who I think will know the answer, maybe, and we'll go from there. Jordan, we're gonna start with you.
Sure.
This is from an older movie,
Okay.
classic. Every town has its ups and downs. Sometimes ups.
Sometimes downs. I don't know.
No,
But wherever you are, you can always find a jackalope around.
you are wrong. This is from Robin Hood, and you're wrong. Outnumber the downs. Okay.
Oh, the ups number. Yeah, that's not one of my favorites. Sure.
All right, Jeremy. Jeremy, finish the lyric. Flotsam, jetsam. Now I've got her, boys. The boss is on a.
Really? That you give him that, and I get,
He's not
I
gonna.
get,
He's
I
not. He's not.
Yeah.
He's not gonna get it though.
the
He's not
boss
gonna
is
get
on
it.
a damn roll.
That's what I thought, but it
The boss
was
is on a damn roll.
too easy to. It seemed too obvious, so I
The
didn't know.
boss is on a roll. Yeah.
All right, okay, how about this one? First one to get it. It's our problem-free.
Philosophy.
Philosophy.
Okay, good. There we go.
Hakuna Matata.
Da, da, da. Which Disney movie features the song "Baby Mine"?
Baby Dumbo.
Damn it!
Oh,
Beat me
Jordan,
to it.
that was a quick one. You ain't never had a.
Friend like
Friend like me.
Okay, okay. Okay. Classic vintage Disney. Ready? We'll see who gets this one. Imagine that the broom is someone that you love, and soon you'll find your.
True Love.
Nope.
I don't know.
Imagine that the broom.
Imagine that the broom is someone that you love, and soon you'll find
Is this
your.
bed knobs?
No.
No, this is like.
Not Mary
This
Poppins.
is this Cinderella?
This is the first animated feature film.
This is
Oh,
Snow
Snow
White.
White. Yeah.
What? Who's singing? Is
Im-
this her?
Imagine that the
Imagine that
broom.
the crew. It's her singing by the well.
No. Imagine that the broom is someone that you love, and soon you'll find your.
Oh,
Just
whistle while you work.
dancing to the tune. You guys know it. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it's from Whistle While You. Not Whistle While You. It's while Whistle While You Work. So
Yeah,
hum a
it
merry
is.
tune, doodaloo doo. Yeah,
Oh yeah. You picked.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like the
I
part
would
of
have
the
had to sing
song.
through the whole thing to get to that part in my head.
Yeah.
Okay. What is the missing word? The blank star to the right shines in the night for you.
Oh, this is from Peter Pan.
The second star to the
Yeah.
right.
Okay,
Shine.
good.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Okay. Aladdin. You ready for this one?
You already gave
Finish.
the movie? Jeez.
I'm giving
What
you the
is
movie,
Aladdin?
but you got to get the missing word. Gotta eat to live, gotta blank to eat. Tell you all about it when I got the time.
Wait, say you
Where was the
Gotta,
blank?
gotta,
live,
gotta eat to live, gotta blank to eat.
gotta live to
Tell you all about it when I got the time.
gotta
Was it
eat.
live?
Gotta live to eat.
Got,
No, gotta.
nope. Gotta eat to live, gotta blink to eat.
I know this one.
Tell you about it when I got the time.
Mr. Aladdin, sir. Dun, dun, dun,
Nope.
dun. I know that
5,
I'm singing the next part.
4, 3,
3.
Gotta steal to
2.
eat.
2. Boom!
Yes.
There it is. Got it.
Oh yeah, so it's from One Jump.
Okay, here we go. This is an attraction at the Disneyland Resort. You are going to have to fill in the blank. I'll go slow with this one, okay?
Sure.
Welcome to our tropical hideaway.
You lucky people, you. Well, you're starting
If you
the show
want
starting
fucking
right
shit.
away. We'll be in the audience too. All together.
There.
I didn't even have to finish it. You guys got it. Okay. Let's see.
Too easy.
I'm trying to find like hard ones. Okay.
I think we should do one for Ben.
Give me one. Go for it.
Tale
as old as time, song as old as.
Right.
Too easy. Too
Right.
easy.
I have a daughter. Of course, I know that one.
Trying to.
I got gadgets and gizmos aplenty. I got what, Ben?
Who's it?
So what's
It's
its
who's
galore?
it's and what's it's galore.
You guys want tough ones?
Yeah,
I got plenty.
Who cares?
Okay.
No big
Okay.
deal.
I want more.
I'm glad you picked up on that.
Ooh. Here's a deep cut. What's the song from the movie The Rescuers? Name me one song from the movie The Rescuers.
No.
I can see it in my head. That's the thing, but I don't know. I couldn't tell you. She's like singing, and it's all depressing, and like she's
Yeah.
like in this. Yeah, I don't know what it's called.
Someone's
Someone.
waiting
Yeah,
for
yeah.
you.
Okay, how about this one? What's the villain song in Pete's Dragon?
I haven't seen Pete's Dragon since I was 5.
That's
Yeah.
like my favorite old. That's like my favorite old
Good
like
for
Disney
you, man.
movie. That's a
Pete's
great
Dragon
one.
bored
And
the crap out of me.
so did So Dear to My Heart. That bored the crap out of me. You still made me watch it.
Oh, new episode. Let's talk.
All right. Well, now that we got that out of the way, and we had some fun trying to stump y'all, but I couldn't. Jordan's got some Vault Disney magic for us. Let's go.
Yeah, everybody, welcome to Vault Jordan. And today we will be talking about one piece that I think we wanted to talk about today, but we ran out of time, which is the Coca-Cola Corner at Disneyland and its history. And I really want to pay specific history to the man that was the most iconic person at Coca-Cola Corner. His name was Rod Miller. Everyone knew him from, I believe he worked from the early 70s all the way till about 2005. He was a bald, skinny man. He did the Disneyland piano almost every day, mostly weekend evenings for 40 years. And he could play pretty much any kind of tune that you could think of, played a lot of the original maritime, I don't know what you would call it, just good good old fashioned music, we'll say. But I have special memories of always sitting there at Coca-Cola Corner and listening to him. He was in almost all Disney promotional videos, and he's been missed ever since. They've been having different replacements, and I don't think anybody has ever filled that role like Rod. I did some research on Rod, and Rod was a very interesting story. He came from a musical family, but he actually didn't actually know how to read music. He was one of those people that just heard it and was able to play it out, figure it out, and go with it. So just an interesting person. Always had a smile. Always loved having a kid sit with him at the piano and see him play. And it really made that area of Disney special for many years.
You know
So,
that area still is special. You know, they. You're talking about where the piano player is, right? Where they sell the hot dogs and chili and all that, right there, right? Yep.
yep.
So that also turns into the Mad Hatter and Alice in Wonderland, and they do musical chairs with kids over there. My sister used to do it all the time, and I remember they still do that today. That's a really cool part. Like I said, music is part of the resort. It's everywhere. They really do a good job of incorporating it and making it lively. And I think that's what goes into making a successful theme park. It's about environment. It's not just about doing things. It's about the atmosphere around it as well. So look, these are some of our favorite rides, attractions that deal with music, shows. Let us know what you think. If you agree with our top 5, if you think that we're wrong in some areas, like I think that Jeremy's wrong with one of his areas, you can let us know in the comments. And you know,
We
we'll
think Ben cheated by saying I like every song.
I will agree with Jordan there. Yes, definitely. I like all the music on Main Street. That's not the assignment, Ben.
Number 2 is I like Fantasyland.
well the assignment, and again, I'll put this on the Spotify list. That is one track on the music, so I will play it for you. It is a
You're good.
14-minute song. Anyway, thanks for joining us today on Triple Scoop. We'll see you next time. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and join in on the fun. Until next time, I'm Ben. That's Jordan. That's Jeremy. We're Triple Scoop. We'll see you later.